Hello! This week on Posters Paint, it is Wednesday. This week, everywhere it's Wednesday right now, currently. I'm pretty sure. Except maybe Australia. And the like of that. Anyway, this week on Posters Paint is Scrubs Week. So, what we do when we're lazy, stuff like that. And when I'm lazy, I usually either blog or clean my flute. And since I can't do a video about blogging, I am going to show you how to clean your flute without really trying that hard. So first you will need a flute, and I'm using my marching flute, which is currently on a 3-part stand, which is why it is on a 3-part stand. You don't need a 3-part stand. You can use your case or a desk to put your flute on while you do this, but I have a 3-part stand, so I'm going to use it. This flute is an Armstrong 104. It's really old, pretty tarnished, kind of gross, but it's a good flute, and I've had it for 7 years. So I'm going to show you how to clean it. You will need 2 cleaning cloths, preferably cloth. They don't have to be anything special. A lot of people will tell you, oh, you gotta go to All County Music, or you gotta go to your music store, and you gotta buy that $14 piece of fabric. Just cut up an old t-shirt. Cotton pad thingies. You'll need a cleaning rod. Mine is very bent. Try not to do that to your cleaning rod. And you will need rubbing alcohol. Not this much. This is just a really big bottle. Alright, step 1. In order to properly clean your flute, you have to properly hail the Dark Lord. So, first we need to draw a pentagram. So, how you draw a pentagram, you draw a star, and then you draw a circle. Hail Satan! Now that we've drawn our pentagram, we can properly start cleaning our flute. Now, we do not need a goat sacrifice for this particular time, because, as I said earlier, it's cleaning your flute without really trying. Get one of your things and cover it in the stuff. You don't want to make it too damp. If you can tell, it's only about that much liquid. You put the thing through the thing. A lot of things I see people not doing that you really should is you should take the other end and fold it over the top so that it actually covers the metal bit, because scratching around a metal pole into your flute is not going to clean it. 2 things about cleaning your flute. First, you always start with the end joint and then go backwards, because when you're playing, most of the spit is going to accumulate into your head joint. So if you clean your head joint first and then the rest, you're going to get your spit all over the rest of your flute, and no one wants that because that's disgusting. So you clean the end to the front, and secondly, you also clean the inside to the outside. The thing about cleaning the inside to the outside is because if you clean the outside first and then you clean the outside is going to get really gross because you're holding it while you're cleaning the inside. So you just stick it in. Make sure that this is covered with the cloth, like I said, because otherwise you're just going to scratch up the inside of your flute, and no one wants that. Stick it in there real good. Get it through the... This cleaning rod that I'm using was not made for this flute that I'm putting it through, so it's a little bit too short, which is obnoxious. But you can just stick it in one end and clean it this way, and stick it in the other end. Flute coon. So that's 2 out of 3, and the rubbing alcohol is coming off a bit, so I'm going to put some more on. I'm just going to That is how we do things here. This one is really wet, so I'm just going to use this to clean my head joint, because no one really cares about the head joint. I'm just kidding. That's where you put your mouth. You want to care about that the most. So this is where these things come in. You've got your head joint covered in stuff now. You've got it covered in rubbing alcohol. So you're going to need to polish it with this and make sure you make it dry. This is going to both remove the kind of like watery stains that you'll get, and it will also shine your flute really well. And after that, it should be really clean. See? It's all nice and shiny. It's very shiny. Shinier than usual. And when you're done drying it off, you set it down on your desk and or stand, but I would not advise putting it back in the case, because the case is going to have all the spit in it, and if you put it back, then the spit will dry back onto your flute, and then it's gross. Okay, I'm going to do the end joint next, because the end joint is small, and I am lazy. So, it's basically the same thing, only you have to be more careful around the pads. Make sure not to get anything on the pads. Make sure you clean right here, where the joints meet up. That's got to be a very important place for you. Do the top of the keys so that they're nice and shiny. Make sure there aren't any spider webs growing between your springs. Clean that off. Pretty. And now the main body of your flute, where you go down the main part where there aren't any keys first, because that's the easiest. Then you get the top of the keys, because that's also easy. Again, be wary of your pads and your springs. And be very careful in going down the rods. And if you don't know how your springs are supposed to look, don't clean the rods. Don't do it. You will need instruction eventually on how to clean your rods without dislodging springs, but it's not critical enough that you will have to do it on your own. Don't do it without instruction. Then you wipe it down, and you let your flute air out overnight. After you're finished, your flute should be nice and pretty. Have a nice week.